Hey, hey! Here we are again. Let me get garbed up. This cooking is serious business. Got my old faithful apron out today. I can wipe my hands on it. I just make a mess when I cook. So, let's jump in. So it's almost Thanksgiving. One of my very favorite things to make at Thanksgiving. In fact, I take it everywhere. My Mississippi Center for Emergency Services family, if you're working Thanksgiving, I'm bringing this. So you'll get to eat it with us. And if you're off that day, make it for your family. So the first thing I need to do, and while I'm prepping a few other things, I need to get my sweet potatoes in the oven. Now you can go buy canned sweet potatoes. You'll find as you watch me cook, I love a good shortcut. I really do. I'm not extra on everything. I'm not sifting flour for everything I cook. Sweet potatoes, it's really not extra work. It's just stick them in the oven and let them cook while you do something else. So the first thing I want to do is get my sweet potatoes on my baking sheet. I've got my oven set to 400 and parchment paper. It's your best friend when you're baking and makes your cleanup better. I'm gonna go on my baking sheet with 6, I would call them medium-sized sweet potatoes. Not the little bitty ones, not those ginormous ones that you'll see in the bin at the grocery store, but about 6 medium size is good. It's a 13 by 9, you'll feed a lot of people with that. And into the oven, I'll have to let you know how long they cook. I'm thinking around 45 minutes. I've never really timed it, but I'll let you know when they come out of the oven. Stay tuned. I am about to roast up some pecans in my iron skillet. Putting in a couple tablespoons of butter. And this is not the iron skillet that I use to make my cornbread and biscuits in. I have a separate one that I use for other things. I'm pretty serious about my bread making skillet, so I don't cook anything else in it but my bread. So, roasting some pecans, pecan, brown sugar, butter, yumminess, topping, and I like it better when it has some roasted pecan. A couple tablespoons of butter. Now I'm not about to use all these pecans on that sweet potato casserole, but I find that when I'm roasting pecans, I just roast up a bunch and put the rest in a Ziploc and put them in my freezer. Ooh, just lost a pecan. That was probably $1. Have you priced pecans? They're ridiculous. I got some greens in my pot. So salt, about that much, a little more. I love buttery, salty, roasted pecans. So you gotta watch these close. I stay with them as that butter melts because there's nothing that will hurt your feelings any more than ruining this whole bag of pecans. So I'm gonna stay with it. Y'all, I've been standing here a minute stirring these pecans, but I recommend doing that. It's hard to describe how to know when they're done. They just start smelling really fragrant. Okay, got the pecans all roasted. Again, this is something you're just gonna have to try. And I just taste it throughout. Be careful. You'll burn yourself. I've already eaten a few of them. That's the only way you can know if they're done. Now, trust me when I tell you, once you get them roasted up, that's good. Once you get them roasted up, if you've used an iron skillet or a skillet that really holds heat, I would recommend that you transfer these into something else, because if you leave them in this skillet and walk away, you're gonna have burned pecans because they're gonna continue to roast in that hot skillet. I'm trying to save you some frustration, also some irritation when you ruin a $20 bag of pecans. Hey, our sweet potatoes are done. I want you to see what they look like. If you've never roasted sweet potatoes, now they were in that 400-degree oven for probably, hour and 15 minutes. So it just depends on the size of your sweet potato. One thing that I forgot to tell you, if you'll poke holes in your sweet potatoes before you get started, they'll cook a little bit faster. It's probably why it took a little bit longer, but 45 minutes to an hour is a good amount of time for this size sweet potato. And you see why I use that parchment paper? Saves you a ton of scrubbing on that pan. But you'll know when they're done because when you stick a fork, you can feel that it's done. So we will let these get cool, then I will peel them and we're gonna make our sweet potato casserole. Okay, we've got our sweet potatoes done and I'm gonna work on peeling them up. We've got 6 of them done and I'm just gonna try to not burn myself. But see, when you've got them cooked right, it just peels right off. Okay, I've got 6 sweet potatoes all peeled up in my bowl. Now we're gonna go in with the rest of the yumminess. 2 cups of sugar. Yep, that's right, 2 cups. 2 cups of sugar, and I melted up 1.5 sticks of butter. This is unsalted butter, just whatever you've got will work. That's just what I had on hand. 1.5 sticks, melted butter. Then 4 eggs. Again, I crack in a separate bowl because I crush the eggshells and you don't want to eat that. So 4 eggs all in the mix. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I want to get 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. I need to get me another teaspoon measure because when I go from wet ingredients to dry ingredients, they stick. We don't want to do that. 2 teaspoons cinnamon. Now you can tweak the amount of spices that you want in here. I like cinnamon, so we're going in with 2 teaspoons. I'm kind of sprinkling just to make sure I don't have any clumps in there. Then 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. Recipe called for a little bit more than that, but I'm not a fan of too much nutmeg, so 1/2 teaspoon is plenty to me. So we're gonna mix all that up together. Just mix it until it's all blended in. I was sitting here thinking about what I might want to share with you as we were cooking. I know on my last video with the red velvet cake, I had shown you where Joel washed the dishes. So it made me start really thinking today about our love languages. And have you taken the time to figure out the love language of your spouse? I think it's a really important thing to do. I certainly didn't do it when we were newly married, but over the course of 28 years, we pretty much figured it out. So I challenge you to take a second, look at the 5 love languages. Well, mine is acts of service. That's one of the things that I can just tell you. Joel has learned that if he helps me do things or thinks ahead to things that he knows I've got to do and he gets them done so that I don't have to bother with them, those things mean so much. I'm sitting here looking in my dining area. There's so many boxes right now because Skylar was here on Saturday and she went up in the attic and brought down all my Christmas decorations. And that to me, that meant the world because it saved me time. So little acts of service are important to me. Joel's probably would be words of affirmation. And that's something I certainly have to work on because it does not come natural for me to say or to tell people when I appreciate them. And that's something that I've had to work on over the years is let my family and those around me know how much they mean to me. You just never know what the spoken word can do for somebody who's going through something. I've mixed all that in. Now for the secret ingredient, 1/2 cup heavy cream. I stir this in at the end, okay? And we are folding it in is perfect. That is all mixed in. I've greased my 13 by 9 just with some nonstick cooking spray going into my pan with my mixture. Then I'm gonna make the pecan topping for it. Okay, let's make our topping for our sweet potato casserole. So I've got my roasted up pecans, they've cooled off, and I want a couple cups. This is my little handy little chopper. I could get out a big chopper and do all that, but this is another example of what Joel means when he says sometimes I do things the hard way. But to me, this is quicker to clean, and I can just chop them up before I can even find my fancy food chopper. I want 2 cups of chopped pecans. Now, I don't chop them up super fine. You know, if it's a little chunky, then we're good. So we should have, that's gonna be 2 cups. Let's just go straight into our pan. 2 cups of brown sugar. Have my container of brown sugar here. Now, I love this container. This is awesome. I got these at Walmart. I think they're Better Homes and Gardens, like an airtight container. You know how your brown sugar gets hard when it sits up? This does not. I had some in here that had been in here for quite a while and it never got hard. So make sure you pack your brown sugar or you won't have enough of the good stuff. Six tablespoons of melted butter into my brown sugar. Gonna stir that together. In with my 2 cups of pecans. And then the final ingredient, we're making a crumble. I need to put some flour in there. I'm gonna get 2/3 cup plain flour. This is a 1/3 cup measure, so I'm gonna go in twice. 2/3 cup. That's gonna thicken it up a little bit. And I just keep stirring until all the flour is gone. If I still see the white of the flour, I just keep mixing. So see, it's just kind of makes a good little crumble. Next, we sprinkle this on top. I know some people like to use marshmallows on their sweet potato. I have done both. I have put some marshmallows on top and then put this on top of the marshmallows and bake it. That's good too. So I'm just using my hand and sprinkling it around. It's not gonna be smooth. I just pile it all on there. Make sure my sweet potatoes are covered. Then we're gonna go into a 350-degree oven for about 45 minutes to an hour. I do watch it, and if it looks like the top is getting brown too quick, I'll cover it with some tin foil. So keep a watch on it. You may need to protect the top. I want you to see our sweet potato casserole. So it's been in the oven about 25 or 30 minutes, but it's starting to look a little brown, and it's not as hot as I need it to be, so I'm gonna cover it up with some tin foil. Sweet potato casserole is done. I wanna show it to you. Again, I did have to put that tin foil on top. It was getting a little brown. Can you see? It's so good. That edge piece